All right, so the reality of being a coach and working with athletes that are testing their limits is they tend to get injured. They tend to get oversore and try to push through the soreness and work out anyway. My dilemma, or I guess the thing that I'm charged with, is doing whatever I can to keep them in the game, keep them training so that they don't lose any ground as they're moving towards competition. I spent about 10 years working with rock tape and have watched the evolution of the various products that they've come up with over time. And I've done all of the certifications, and I found that this is probably the thing that every athlete that I work with needs to have in their gym bag. And so the things we're speaking of is, first off, having some rock tape. Rock tape is like, let's call it a Band-Aid for sore muscles, just lay terms. Then you also need RockFloss, which is the most efficient way that I've been able to employ to reduce inflammation, make things feel better so that you can get back to work and not have compromised movement patterns because your muscles are just put out and you have to compensate relative to the things you're facing. This is RockFloss. And as you can see, proprietary brand name, RockFloss, and it's nothing more than a latex band. And what we're going to do is, my friend here has had some issues with his IT band and potentially some medial collateral ligament inflammation, some lateral collateral inflammation, a lot of which is because the way he was landing while he was running was creating some inversion issues, and he's just stressing the hell out of his joint capsule in the knee there. And so I'm going to show him, and I'm going to demonstrate how to employ this RockFloss. And this is like self-care. So this is something he could do before he runs, after he runs, and it's going to help him to avoid taking extra days off that he didn't want to take off, and or trying to operate on sore joints and muscles. All right, so for starters, what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin below. I'm going to take and get some purchase here below the knee. Now that I've trapped it, I can begin applying tension. So I'm giving a pretty good tug here. Now, I'm actually putting the tension regional. So in other words, I'm not looking to put a lot of tension on the front of the leg or the medial side of the leg, but I'm going to start working towards tension on the lateral side of the leg, working up. Now realize that the IT band and his lateral collateral ligament, all that is in here, and that's kind of where I want to purge whatever inflammation that exists there. I'm going to straighten the leg out a little bit more. I put a lot of tension here, and then I'm going to work right over top of the kneecap, and then continue until I'm going to start running out of my floss. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck it in. Now, truth be told, had I started a little further up, I could have got a little further up on the quad. Now that we got this under tension, we could do a little scrubbing here, and then I want him to stand up and mobilize no more than about 90 seconds. We won't spend 90 seconds for the sake of the film. Okay, good. Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. Just give me about, give me like 10 deep squats like that. Now the thing is, anywhere that you're facing some inflammation, the only contraindication that I'm familiar with is you don't want to wrap this around your neck. It's about the only place you don't want to do that. You don't want to choke yourself. And the other consideration is you don't want to leave it on for too long. Basically, it's like a tourniquet. And essentially what it's doing is it's flushing out all the edema. It's moving a lot of the blood flow out. And then when we remove it, all that fresh interstitial fluid is going to come back, help to lubricate the fascia. The inflammation has basically been purged out, and things should feel better. Let's go ahead and pull this off. Okay, and then mobilize one more time. Up and down. And again, you're looking at you want to stay under 2 minutes when you're underneath the floss. Obviously, mobilizing after the floss is gone doesn't make a difference because you're going to go out and train anyway. Okay, just kind of walk a little bit. Tell me what you think. You feel like, what's your sensation? What does it feel like?
Feels lighter, but also feels more like mobile.
Yeah. I mean, so try to appreciate if you did that with both knees.
That still feels much like lighter than this knee.
Yeah, it feels free, right? So try to appreciate that if you were going up your Achilles, your calf muscle, same kind of freedom that exists. And it's just preparatory. This is like warming up. You get things organized before you go out and do your run or whatever it is you're going to do.
Definitely. Whoa.
Yeah, big deal, right?
Yeah.
The next thing I would do is I would apply some tape. And the tape extends the sensation that he feels after having come off the floss. So we make things better, and we want to continue to keep them better for a greater length of time. An assumption being that if there's something going on with the mechanics that's causing to have these problems to begin with, well, likelihood is that's not going to change right away. He's working on making those changes, but we want to make things as comfortable as possible while he's working on making those changes. So the tape will extend the treatment. And what I'm going to do, and I've yet to show this to anybody so far, is I'm going to use a new tape that Rock Tape came out with, which is the rayon tape. This, folks, is like magic. Okay, so next steps, I want to prep the leg before I apply the tape. Rock sauce is the active ingredient in this is capsaicin, which is what you find in jalapeno. So it's like an irritant. It's going to cause blood to be drawn to the area, which is going to help promote healing. And it's going to get hot. This one is rock sauce fire. This gets pretty warm. You're going to notice it gets really warm when you're dealing with muscle. There's a lot of blood flow there. If you're dealing with areas of the foot or something like that where there's a lot of ligaments and bone, you won't notice the same effect. But what I'm going to use this for is to clean the skin, first of all, to get the oils and things off, dirt, grime, oil, so that the tape will stick better and for a greater length of time. And so I'm going to use the rayon tape. And so here's what I've learned. First of all, the rayon tape is pre-cut. You can see these fancy little designs here, but you can see it's already pre-cut. And there's a big difference between this and your typical rock tape. And by the way, this particular tape is also pre-cut. To be honest with you, I prefer not to have it pre-cut. I like to cut myself because I always will make some interesting applications based on whatever the needs are. But the biggest difference between this tape and this tape is that this tape, which I've used for a decade, you can see that it's got a directional stretch. And the application of stretch here is a little bit more pliable than what the rayon is. And what the rayon does is it helps to control the amount of strain It occurs over the length of the ligament, tendon, whatever we're applying it to. And it helps to stabilize and protect you from yourself. Doesn't let you take you to end ranges that may cause problems. I'm just giving you the lay expression of what this really is doing. But I can tell you that I've used it since it's been recently released, and I've noticed a tremendous difference in the benefit of the application. But because I've never done a video with the rayon before, I'm doing it now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply, by the way, this is the industrial size bottom. They also come in roll-on. This is more for consumer version, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some of this RockFloss, which is going to help to pull oils and such off the skin, like I said earlier. Make it nice and clean. Prep is important. If you don't prep correctly, don't expect the tape to stay. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the knee about here. And I'm going to separate the paper from the tape on the back pretty much in the middle. Like this. And then what I'm going to do, well, first of all, just extend the leg. Hold it up and extend it for me. Hold your leg straight up. There you go, like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a little bit of stretch here and tack it down like that. And then no stretch of the ends. Otherwise, it may pull on the skin and cause some irritation. What? That's it. Simple as that. So what's going to happen is as he's articulating the joint, it's kind of doing this. It's pulling and recovering, pulling and recovering. And it's like making room. It's drawing inflammation out and also helping to protect you from going beyond a particular range of motion that might cause further irritation. So if you do it right, this tape should last multiple days. So simple as that. Been at this a long time, and I've tried pretty much all of it. And I can tell you that this is a winning proposition. You want to keep an athlete in the game, you need to know how to do these things. I recommend you go to rocktape.com and learn when and what they're offering as education. I know they do some online stuff for taping procedures, for flossing, for cupping, for blading, functional movement. I've done them all. Fantastic. Dr. Steve Capobianco is kind of heading that up. He's an amazing, amazing chiropractor and sports physician. He's been at this for a long time, and a lot of this is coming from him. Got to take advantage of it as best you can.